Pleasure to be back here at the Leadership Conference. While the lights are a little bright, I'm going to invite those of us who were at the very first Pennsylvania Leadership Conference 25 years ago, raise your hands. All right, only a couple of us. Well, it is good to welcome all you newcomers to the Pennsylvania Leadership Conference. I want to thank my friend Dave Taylor for that very kind introduction. Dave and the people at the Pennsylvania Manufacturers Association have indeed been allies in working, partnering with our private sector to create family-sustaining jobs and continuing to lead the comeback of our Commonwealth. I also want to acknowledge very specially somebody who has been the heart of these annual gatherings, our friend Loman Henry. Loman is indeed a great ally, the organizer of this weekend's activities, somebody who some 25 plus years ago thought it would be a good idea to bring together conservative minds from across the Commonwealth, from across the region, and indeed across the country, to share ideas on ways in which we can all work together toward our common prosperity. And it was in that same vein that 3 years ago, Tom Corbett and I first came to the state capitol. And if you reflect back on those times and think about them for a moment, times were tough. It was one of the worst economies, certainly in generations, perhaps in most of our lifetimes. Unemployment rates were soaring, as were taxes, and state government was spending well beyond its means. That generational theft of spending our children's future was alive and well. And many in Harrisburg, particularly those on the other side of the aisle, wanted to continue that same old tax and spend, promising that it was going to lead to a different outcome. And friends, what we all know is that very definition of insanity, to keep doing the same thing over again and to expect a different outcome. So the people of Pennsylvania decided that it was time for our Commonwealth to move in a new direction. And they put their trust in a man named Tom Corbett. You see, as candidates, Tom Corbett and I talked about a different way. We talked about a different direction for our Pennsylvania. We promised to restore fiscal discipline to our state capital. We promised to change the way in which the people's business was conducted in Harrisburg. We promised to invest more in our most precious resource, our children. We promised to partner with the private sector to develop a vibrant energy economy in this state. We promised to work with that very same private sector to put Pennsylvanians back to work. And my friends, as we stand here today, Tom Corbett and I and our allies in the House and the Senate delivered on those promises. And I got news for you. We're going to do it again this year, and we're going to do it again the year after that, and the year after that, and the year after that, and the year after that. Now, all of us know that that is indeed the path to prosperity, the road to recovery for our Commonwealth. But you know, there are those out there, they don't quite get it. In fact, I know of at least 4 Pennsylvanians now who don't quite get it. Now, they will tell you that they have the new best way of moving our state forward. They will tell you that their plans are all new. Folks, do not buy their snake oil. They may call it all new, but they have gone to the shelf, pulled off the same tired old ideas, blown the dust off them, slapped a label on them, and told you it's all new. Folks, It is the same old, tired tax and spend. They want to hike costs. They want to increase regulation. They want to grow the size of government, and they want to buy stuff that we simply cannot afford. Now, how do I know this? How do I know that less than Fab 4 are committed to exactly that failed agenda? Because I look at the leader of their party. I look at the current occupant of the White House. And when we are faced with some common sense that certain policies that they all stand for and that administration stands for have failed, they still don't get it. You know how I know that? I listen to what it is the President of the United States has said. I would invite you all, if you haven't, to take a look at the opinion page of the Wall Street Journal this morning. Peggy Noonan, in an editorial page article entitled A Catastrophe Like None Other, reflects on Obamacare. And she makes a couple of salient points. She says first, what the bill declared it would do, ensure tens of millions of uninsured Americans, it has not done. There are still tens of millions of uninsured Americans. On the other hand, it has terrorized millions who did have insurance and lost it, or who still have insurance and may lose it. Now, that's reality, folks. But let's hear what the leader of the Democratic Party and the current occupant of the White House has to say about the policy. The president's approach on Tuesday, when he held a press conference, and by the way, as he's extolling the virtues of Obamacare, did anybody find it surprising that he chose April 1st in order to do it? When he announced that there was now 7.1 million new enrollees, never mind that 6 million lost the health care that they wanted to keep. But there's 7.1 million enrollees. He said, quote, the debate over repealing this law is over. The Affordable Care Act is here to stay. In the end, history is not kind to those who would deny Americans basic economic security. Finally, something the President and I agree on. Nobody remembers well those who stand in the way of America's progress or our people. And that's what the Affordable Care Act represents. Again, something I agree on. I think the Affordable Care Act does stand in the way of progress in our people. As messy as it has been sometimes, and as contentious as it has been, it is progress. My friends, it is not progress. So when you consider the four people who are offering themselves on the Democratic side as our next governor, ask yourself this: who among those four is going to have the courage to stand up and say, with all due respect, Mr. President, apologies are nice, but you just don't get it. Your Affordable Care Act is a disaster. It is hurting Pennsylvanians' health, it is hurting Pennsylvania's economy, and it is hurting Pennsylvania jobs. Who among those four is going to stand up and say, with all due respect, Mr. President, your war on coal, your war on natural gas, your war on fossil fuels is hurting our national security, is hurting Pennsylvania's economy, and hurting Pennsylvania jobs? Who among those four is going to stand up and say, Mr. President, your EPA, your IRS, and the rest of your bureaucratic thugs are hurting Pennsylvania's economy and hurting Pennsylvania jobs? The answer, my friends, is this: not one of them. Not one of them, regardless of what they tell you, regardless of how much money they borrow from the bank and have somebody else pay for their TV ads with, regardless, they're not going to have the courage to do that. But the good news for us is that we do not have to look among the less than Fab Four. We have our champion. We have our leader. We have our governor, Tom Corbett. And the reason why I know he's going to do it is because he's done it time and time and time again. When Washington has been trying to cram down our throats that one-size-fits-all bureaucratic approach, our Governor Tom Corbett has stood tall. And we are going to continue to work hard every day, to knock on every door, to talk to every friend and talk to every neighbor, to tell everyone, to make it clear that Tom Corbett is the right man to move our Pennsylvania forward. Because I will tell you this as well. There's a lot at stake for our Pennsylvania. And in fact, this November, Pennsylvanians are going to face a very clear choice. It is going to be a choice between more liberty and more government, between fewer jobs or a stronger economy, between higher taxes or more prosperity, between the same old tired tax and spend agenda or a true path for greater prosperity. Growth and opportunity is what Pennsylvanians expect, and it is what Pennsylvanians deserve. That's why Tom Corbett's running again. That's why I'm running again. That's why I'm here with you today, because I know that you share that same common belief. And it is simply this, that while our Commonwealth enjoys a rich and storied history, the best days, the very best days for our state lie ahead, so long as we have the courage to make the decisions in order to get there. Working together, we will realize that better Pennsylvania for ourselves and our children and their children. Thank you all very much, and I look forward to working with you all toward a great victory on November 4th.